So say what you want. I'm happily married, and I love my wife. We have a beautiful daughter, and that's how we live it.
I mean, I always have to ask, like, people are saying your wife must have been like a little bit younger when you married her. I mean, can you set this record straight?
So she was 19 when we got married. She was 18 when we started dating. So, a lot of misconception out there about a lot of people try to like twist her age online and make it seem like she was born a year earlier. She wasn't. She's 22 going on 23, and she keeps me young and fresh. What can I say? We have a love that people don't really understand.
We all knew Marques Houston was a creep once we found out that he met and married his wife Miya Houston when she was a teenager. But baby, the things she is revealing after their divorce are just sickening. And the story got darker when he went on interviews and did a whole documentary trying to justify getting a teenage wife, saying that he was young in spirit and didn't want to deal with the baggage women his age came with. A lot of women my age are very independent. They are very like, I don't need a man to do this for me because I could do this for myself. And I come from a generation that I'm very, very, love to provide for my wife. I love to provide for my woman. And I'm very in that generation like the old days, I would never want to be with a woman that felt like, oh, I don't need you. So, there's a lot of women my age I've dated and, they may have baggage, they may have kids, they may have not. There's so many different women that I've dated throughout my life, and this just so happened to be the one that caught my heart. And it's fair to say that now that she's finally a bit older, she would have never gotten married to him if she knew what she was walking into. Miya has posted content on TikTok several times now alone or with their kids, but Marques never makes an appearance. She has taken down all pictures of them together, and word is that she's left Jehovah's Witness completely and is out living her best life. Marques, on the other hand, was in his feelings. He was posting heartbreak posts back-to-back on IG, including one that says, "Maybe I am hard to love, but I love hard." We can already see Marques trying to deflect from the failure of losing his marriage and make it seem like he's just this passionate person. Meanwhile, when it was still going on, he had a lot to say about everyone just being haters. In one post, he said, "My biggest flex is being a man of God, being in love with the woman of my dreams, being a great husband and a great father." Shout out to all the husbands and fathers out there. It ain't easy, but we get the job done. Yet. It looks like despite getting his dream woman, very young, beautiful, no kids before him, and dependent on him, Marques still fumbled. And she'd much rather be single after what she went through. Apparently, he was very controlling and constantly quoting scripture to keep her in check. And do y'all remember how their marriage started? Back in 2020, Marques and Miya got married, and immediately their relationship drew a lot of scrutiny because of their massive age gap. Since she was 19 when they married and he was pushing 40. They got engaged 5 months after Miya turned legal. Of course, people suspected he'd been with her for longer because there's no way they met, started dating, and got engaged in a matter of weeks. However, getting married with such a massive age gap was the least creepy thing about their relationship. It turns out that Miya was reported as a missing kid after she ran away from her adoptive parents' home at 15. It was believed she left her adoptive parents' home in Oregon to find her biological mother, Paula, in California. But Miya went completely quiet between 2016 and 2018 and resurfaced when her relationship with Marques became public. The official narrative was that they met when she was 17 and Marques wanted nothing to do with her until she turned 18. But internet sleuths quickly found out that was false, and he may have been in her life much earlier than that. Even though she was reported missing, Miya was credited as an art director for several of Chris Stokes' movies spanning 2016 to 2018, and Chris Stokes and Marques are very close. Chris Stokes is also a Jehovah's Witness and might have played a big part in Marques later converting as well. Immediately, people noticed what was going on. Miya's IMDb page just went missing. It got even creepier when Marques pinned a whole college essay-length defense of himself, saying, "I met Miya in 2018 through a mutual friend. Never before then did I even know she existed." The fact that she was listed on one of our films was a misprint or someone being messy. First of all, why would anyone want to be messy when Miya was practically unknown to us until her relationship with him went public? He continued, "Miya and I didn't start dating until she was an adult. We fell in love and got engaged in March of 2019. My dad, Michael, loves her, and the people I am closest to all love her as well. Most importantly, we have Jehovah's blessing. This still doesn't explain why or how they were with someone who was legally classified as missing. How come nobody in Chris Stokes' family ever talked about Miya until she turned 18, even though he was essentially a father figure to her? Marques, by his own admission, also said he knew Miya when she was underage. Me and my wife's situation is a little different. You know how we met, through mutual friends and everything like that. When I met my wife, she was 17. So we had no real conversation and no real connection until she was of age. People don't understand it, and I got a lot of backlash for marrying someone that was 19. When we did finally start to talk, I was like, this woman is like me. We had a spiritual connection, and I feel like that's the most important thing. We both love God, we both love Jehovah, and that was key. So he really expects us to believe he never spoke to her, never approached her, had no connection with her. But the minute the clock struck 12 on her 18th birthday, suddenly there was this magical connection. There are also accusations against Marques and his manager Chris Stokes by former B2K member Dario Thornton and Quendon Tarver, alleging Marques might have started communicating with Miya while she still lived with her adoptive parents, which prompted her to run away. Since age gap marriages aren't frowned upon among Jehovah's Witnesses, the Stokes family likely kept her hidden until it was okay to go public with the relationship. And let's not gloss over the fact that Marques also took time to put down other women, claiming women his age had too much baggage. I'm 41, right? She's 22. I could have married a 41-year-old woman and it could have been disastrous. Women my age have a different outlook on life. Very independent, like they don't need a man. I come from a generation that loves to provide for my wife, my woman. However, once they were married, Miya soon realized Marques had just as much baggage as the women he claimed he didn't want to deal with. Here she was, fresh out of high school with no job or anything to call her own, while dealing with a man who had seen the world and had an established career before she came into the picture. Miya knew she'd be a stay-at-home mother since Marques emphasized from the start that he wanted to be the main provider. What she didn't know was that he wasn't just looking for a wife. He was looking for someone to replace the mother he lost as a teenager, a standard she was never going to meet. As she grew older, Miya wanted more for herself than being his wife. She started creating content on social media, attending influencer events, and meeting people outside the Jehovah's Witness circle. She began to realize just what Marques had taken from her, and reportedly started asking him for help with business and job opportunities. But Marques wasn't about to let go of control, and with the help of their Jehovah's Witness friends, began pressuring her to remain a stay-at-home mom focused on the twins. That's reportedly why we no longer see Miya with Chris's daughter Chrissy, despite once being close as sisters. She had to fully step away from Jehovah's Witness to build a life of her own. Now that she's finding herself, people are hoping she stays away from Marques completely, since there's no doubt he spent years trying to manipulate her. Online reaction has been blunt. Commenters called him out for having mutual friends with a 17-year-old, accused him of grooming his wife and waiting until she turned 18 to go public, and noted people recall seeing him active in her comments when she was still 17. Others pointed to his past comments dismissing single mothers as red flags. Ironic